Hi everybody and welcome to the Alex vlog. I'm drinking a can of drink in one of my vlogs again. Get used to it because it's summer here, it's quite warm, so I'll probably be doing this in my vlogs quite a lot. So anyway, today we are talking tsunami warning systems. Why on earth are we talking about that? Well, those of you who've been watching the Alex vlog from the very beginning will know that I live in Wellington in New Zealand. And in New Zealand, particularly the region I live in, we get quite a lot of earthquakes. And on November the 14th, 2016, there was quite a big one down in Kaikoura, 7.8 magnitude, which is bigger than both of the Christchurch earthquakes and caused quite a bit of damage, particularly in Kaikoura, even quite a lot in Wellington. But the earthquake has since sparked a very interesting discussion about tsunamis, because everyone has been saying that after the tsunami threat that there was after the Kaikoura earthquake that thankfully never came to anything, a lot of people said, why? In a region as coastal as Wellington, where literally thousands and thousands of people in Wellington live or work on coastlines, they said, why on earth do we not have tsunami warning sirens to warn people of an impending tsunami in these coastal regions? And basically the local government councils basically turned around and gave a list of reasons why they don't want to install sirens. And there's a few reasons, but I'm going to highlight the three main ones. Number one, that in any tsunami situation, your first warning of a tsunami should be the earthquake that causes it. There's been a campaign recently, it's been all over the media, they've made TV commercials about it, they've even been advertising it on Facebook, and it's a new slogan called, if it's long or strong, get gone. And basically what it means is that if there's an earthquake and it's either really long or really strong, or in worst case scenario both, then get the hell out of there immediately, because in those circumstances it is very likely that there is going to be quite the tsunami threat. So they said, if that's the case, then that should be the first warning. They said that people shouldn't be waiting for a siren, because ultimately if they evacuate as soon as the earthquake happens, then ultimately that gives them as much time as possible to get out before a potential tsunami hits. Now this is a point that I do agree with, because I think that yes, a big earthquake or a long earthquake that's possible to cause a tsunami should be an indication to anyone to get the hell out of there. And I think that really is a very important message, and I'm really glad that they are advertising it. However, there is one flaw with this, which is that not everyone is going to be able to feel an earthquake. And I know that sounds weird, but if you're driving, or you're on a train, you're on a bus, whatever, sometimes you don't feel those earthquakes. Quite a lot of the motorways in Wellington are in coastal areas. A lot of State Highway 1 follows around coastlines a lot, and part of State Highway 2 follows up the coastline as well. And you're going 100 kilometers an hour, you're not that likely to feel some earthquakes. And they said if it's long or strong, get it gone. It might be a long earthquake capable of causing a tsunami, but it might not be a strong one. Or it could be an earthquake that's very deep, or one that's far out to sea, that can't be felt as well inland. And that's where the problem is with that slogan. They are making the assumption that everyone is going to feel the earthquake that causes the tsunami. But the truth is that not everyone is always going to be able to feel a big earthquake, especially if it's a long way out, or if they're driving, or whatever. And that is quite the problem, As in that case, they're going to be reliant on realising what's happened, knowing that other people are evacuating as well. And yes, there are radio messages that go out to say evacuate now, but not everyone who's driving actually has their radio on, especially as the majority of cars these days have a CD player in them or iPod connectivity, and people listen to their own music of their choice. A lot of people don't listen to radio, and also, you're not going to have the radio on if you're on a bus or a train. So that's quite the problem. But that's not all they had to say. So now, point 2. The local government has also said that if there is a tsunami warning siren system in place, then people will become reliant on the sirens and not use their initiative, i.e. not use the when it's long or strong yet gone. And I feel that while yes, there are some people who would rely on the sirens, I actually think that most people are smart enough to realise that a big earthquake means probably a tsunami. I mean, everybody who I've spoken to, and I've talked about these sort of things with a lot of people, because believe me, when you live in an earthquake-prone area, earthquakes and tsunamis are kind of a subject that comes up quite a lot in regular discussion when you live in an area that's prone to it. So, I think that most people probably have the initiative, and even so, like I said before, the whole point of having a tsunami warning siren system is to warn people. And as I was mentioning before, if people don't feel that earthquake, and they don't have radios on, then that siren system is going to be the thing that alerts them. I mean, let's take a look at another example here. A lot of fire stations in New Zealand still have those old air raid sirens that go off to warn the volunteer firefighters that there's a fire. And a lot of people keep saying, well, why do we need those? Because, don't firefighters have pagers for things like that these days, or cell phone messages? And yes, they do, but thing is that if you're not in the same room as your phone or your pager when you're at home, or you're somewhere noisy, or even if the system has broken down, because I know that a lot of firefighters have gone on record saying that pager systems are really unreliable, and then if that's the case, then they're not going to be able to hear those devices. That's why fire stations still have those sirens go off, because it is the last resort. It is a definitive way to make sure of it, and they work. I live in Whitby, and I can hear the siren going off in Plympton, and that is quite a way away. It's a good 15 minutes drive to Plympton Fire Station from here, and it's quite the way away. It's a good 10-15 kilometres. It's a good 10 kilometres away or so, and I can hear that siren clear as mud. In fact, if the wind's blowing in the right direction, I can hear it with the windows closed. And it's not even that loud. I've stood next to it while it's gone off. It's not even that loud. But that is why we have sirens. They're a last resort. They're for people who really, really need them. The whole point of sirens like that is that they save lives. And lives as well. And speaking of the sirens, it takes me on to point 3. There's been a lot of questions about the reliability of siren networks because they've analysed the siren system in Christchurch. And they've said that those sirens are often too quiet, and that there's not enough of them, and that people could have complained that they can't hear them. And I'm like, that's just one siren network. And also how effective the system is also partly dependent on the type of sirens that you install. There are hundreds of companies out there that make sirens. I mean, you've got the old style mechanical sirens like the older World War II ones, which they still make, by the way, or you've got the electric sirens that make funny noises like the ones in Christchurch. And the fact is it's just down to choosing the right sirens for the job. I mean, just because Christchurch's system is rubbish doesn't mean that all tsunami siren systems are. I mean, look at other countries that have siren systems. I mean, look at America. I mean, America has tsunami sirens in its coastal regions, and it has tornado sirens, and those systems are really, really effective. And it's like maybe what Wellington needs is to get some of those American sirens over here, because some of those are really, really effective, and they work, and they are proven to work, and they really, really do the job. So just because they're saying that, well, Christchurch's system's kind of rubbish, doesn't mean that all tsunami siren or emergency weather warning siren systems are crap, because plenty of them are good. And lastly, point 4. They also said that if they were to install a siren network, they would then need people to manage the network, and in the event of the tsunami, press the button that makes the sirens go off. And they said, but how can they have people doing that? Because the people who are doing that would need to evacuate as well. So how can they be there monitoring the siren network if they've got to evacuate? Well, I'd have thought that the answer to that would be simple, which is don't put the centre that controls the sirens inside the bloody red zone for the tsunamis. Put it on top of a hill somewhere. I mean, sirens can be controlled remotely, You don't have to put the siren control stations next to the flipping sirens. You can put the control centre somewhere else. I mean, I think there are some sirens in America that are even activated by phone signals. I mean, they might even have wireless signal ones. I'm not even sure. But it's like that is just common sense. That that you wouldn't. I mean, it's like you wouldn't be stupid enough to put the control centre for the tsunami sirens inside the tsunami zone. That would just be downright stupid. So that point is pretty invalid in the first place. So, in conclusion, should Wellington have a tsunami warning siren system? I say yes, it should. Now, the idea of if it's long or strong, get gone, that slogan is brilliant, and I'm pretty sure that most people are vigilant enough to understand what that means and actually act upon it if a big earthquake like that happens. And I don't think that people are going to become reliant on the siren system. Some people will, but I think most people will be smart enough to know what goes on. As for the idea that the siren control centre would need to evacuate as well, that's just blooming bullshit. Because you obviously would put the centre that controls the sirens outside of the evacuation zone. That would, because I mean, putting it inside the evacuation zone would just be bloody stupid. And also, saying though that the systems are unreliable is just rubbish. I mean, you just got to look at places like America or other countries that have tsunami warning systems or tornado siren warning systems or whatever. They do work. And they've been proven to for decades. So I think that Wellington does need tsunami warning sirens. There's just too many people who live on the coastlines to risk not having a network in place. As it's just common sense if you ask me. Well, but at the end of the day, it's not my decision. It's up to local government to decide. They seem to be saying no, we don't need it. But I'm one of those people who supports the move to say yes, we do need it, so we'll have to see what happens in the future. Maybe one day in the future, they might turn around and say, actually, we do want to install a system, or maybe do a trial run in an area to see how it goes. But until then, And I guess that we're just going to have to remember that if it's long or strong, get gone. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you next time.
Now I go cleaning windows to earn an honest bob. For a nosy Parker, it's an interesting job. Now it's a job that just suits me. A window cleaner you would be if you can see what I can see when I'm cleaning windows.